How do I do that? How do you answer? Oh.
I still have music going in my head, so I'm still dancing. But I am. All right, we are now live out there on Facebook and on YouTube and in different places. So to all who are out there on YouTube or on Facebook, we are so happy that you are with us as we move into our Purim celebration. I mentioned to all of those who are with us on Zoom that that Cantor Bush is recovering from being ill this week. He hopes to be back with us for Shabbat tomorrow night. But we do have Cantor Richard Schwartz with us. And Cantor Schwartz is going to kick us off with a few Purim songs to get us going. I'm going to stop sharing my sound so Cantor Schwartz can share what he wants to share. There we go.
Hi, everybody. It's so great to be here with you to celebrate Purim together. And I wanted to start us off with a little Hinei Matov, how good it is to be together. And Cantor Bush is a dear friend, and want to thank Rabbi for inviting me to share the Purim with you. So you might recognize this song called Hinei Matov, and this is a version of it that I'm thinking that Cantor Bush has introduced to you too. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Get a little silly with me. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
And we're going to continue with a little more music. Here we go.
All right. Good. Oh, a little more there. That music or my music?
Your music.
Okay, good. Yeah. I've got a whole song sheet here prepared for you. And, I will do some more songs, maybe familiar songs and whatnot. But there's a song that I've just really been enjoying a lot lately. And it's a quote from a famous rabbi, Rabbi Nachum, Nachman of Bretzlav, who said, "Mitzvah gedola lihyot besimcha tamid." Now you can see here, it didn't. If you looked at the transliteration, it didn't say exactly that. But we were listening to the music beforehand, and we had a little flavor of a different way of pronouncing Hebrew, like an Ashkenazi way, right? And so I like to put it as mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha. Liyos besimcha tamid. So what does it mean? It's a great mitzvah to be in joy all the time. That's a pretty hard thing to do, I know. And I think one secret is to just be present to all of things, the good and the bad, and to just find a way into it, and somehow to find some joy in what we're doing. So it's mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. I hope that this song brings some joy and some because this is what Purim's about, is to increase our joy. So first I'll just sing it on a little nigun so you can learn the melody. Yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 lai. Let's try that again. Yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 lai. Now with the words. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Back to the top. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. One more time. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Now you're wondering about this I diddy die part, I'll bet you, right? I diddy die, I diddy die, I diddy die, oi 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 I diddy die, I diddy die, oi 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 oi. Last time. Yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 lai. Let's ask it. Yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 yalai lai 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 lai. Now with the words. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid. Mitzvah gedola liyos besimcha tamid.
And one more Purim song, and then we will get started.
Okay. Well, let me pop it up to the top of the page. And maybe we could do a familiar one. I hope this is the melody. Chag Purim. And this kind of tells us what it's all about right here in all these words.
And it says, Hava narisha rash rash rash. Let's make some noise. Yeah. Noise, noise, noise. And if you have a grogger, it can be noise. But I'm giving you permission, boys and girls, at home, when to be noisy. Right? The rabbi told you it was okay. At Purim, when we say rash rash rash, it's a lot of noise. So we can make noise. And if you have a grogger, you can shake it, but if you don't, you can use your voices. Here we go.
Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehud. זמירות ריקודים, הבה נרישה, ראש, 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 הבה נרישה, הבה נרישה, ראש, 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 בהרשנים, חג פורים, חג פורים, זה אל זה שלוחים מנות, מחמדים, ממתקים, תופינים מגדנות. Here we go. הבה נרישה, ראש, 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 הבה נרישה, ראש, 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 הבה נרישה, ראש, 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 בהרשנים. Purim's here, Purim cheer, 'tis a holiday so dear. Mask and song bring along, groggers loud and clear. Hava narisha, rush, rush, rush. Hava narisha, rush, rush, rush. Hava narisha, rush, rush, rush. Grogger time is here. Purim's here, Purim's here, gifts arrive from far and near. Cookies sweet, good to eat, cakes and pies appear. Here go the groggers, have the groggers. Here go the groggers, grogger time is here. Now I just want to do for the last one a little bit of a different version of it that you can kind of groove to me with. Groove. A Purim day, such a happy holiday. We make noise with our toys, dance and sing and play. Let's hear the groggers go. Let's hear the groggers go. Oh, let's hear the groggers go. Rush, rush, rush. When we say Amen.
And when we say Haman, we hear boo. So we are going to jump into just a little bit of tefillah, a few prayers. We'll just do our Baruch Hu and Shema and Micha Mocha this evening. And then we're going to go into telling our Purim story. And I'll give you instructions on how we're going to do our Purim story when we get to the Purim story. But even during tefillah, I know during prayer, we always tell you, you got to be serious and you got to stand up and you got to sit down. But on Purim, we even can be silly while we're doing our prayers. So as we go through, we can do that as well. So here we go.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Let me see you. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Go ahead.
I say our song of freedom, Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך רובנך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד.
And now, in just a moment, the time we have all been waiting for, the telling of our Purim story. So what we are going to do, I'm going to give a couple of instructions because you all need to know how to do what to do. Zoom makes things a little different for Purim. So first, Cantor Schwartz is going to chant the blessing in a minute over the Megillah, reading the Megillah. And then Jeremy Kaur, who's here, interspersed will be we'll be chanting some pieces of our Megillah in the Hebrew so that you can hear it. So we'll chant a few lines of Hebrew, and then I'll read English. There'll be much more English than Hebrew. So the Hebrew it's not a translation. The English is not a translation of the Hebrew. I don't want anybody to think that somehow we're just reading little snippets of the Hebrew so you can get a feel of what it sounds like and a little bit of the feel of the Hebrew Megillah. When we say the word Haman, the bad person in the story, that's when we're supposed to make a lot of noise. Zoom doesn't work very well. So there are a few things you can do. You can use your, you can do this, boo, like that. You can type in the chat. And if you type it once, you can just keep copying it in there too, but you can type in the chat, boo, like I just did, right? So I can see boos, I can see boos. If some of you have other enhancements, you can show them in different ways. You have a grogger, you can be shaking it on the screen, and you can make lots of noise at home. So that's all wonderful. That's all wonderful as well. So we're going to start with the blessing over the Megillah from Cantor Schwartz, then a little bit of Megillah from Jeremy Kaur, and then I will begin the telling of the story in English.
Okay, just gonna share it here on the screen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Brucha at Yah Eloheinu ruach haolam she'asta nisim li'imotenu ve'la'avoteinu bayamim hahem bazeman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Megillah in Hebrew.
Chag Sameach, everyone. Am I loud and clear, Rabbi?
You are loud and clear. Thank you.
A little Hebrew to start the story and then back to the English. Vayehi b'mei Achashverosh, hu Achashverosh, hamolech mehodu ve'ad Kush, sheva ve'esrim umea medina, bayamim hahem kishevet, hamelech Achashverosh, al kiseh malchuto, asher b'shushan habirah, Bishnat shalosh lemalcho asa mishte lechol sarav ve'avadav chel paras umadai hapartemim v'sarei hamedinot lefanav.
This happened during the days of King Ahasuerus, who ruled 127 provinces stretching from India to Ethiopia. In the 3rd year of his rule, he made a feast for all his princes, advisors, and army officers. At that party, the king showed off great riches and the glory of his kingdom. The guests drank great quantities of wine from golden cups. Queen Vashti also made a feast for the women. On the 7th day of the feast, that's a long feast. On the 7th day of the feast, when the king was drunk with wine, he commanded his closest servants to bring Queen Vashti so that the people could see how beautiful she was. But Queen Vashti refused to parade before the drunken guest, and this refusal enraged the king. He called a meeting of his experts on Persian law. He asked what he should do to Queen Vashti, who had disobeyed him. Prince Memucan answered on behalf of the others. At this moment, the wives of the princes of Persia and Media are answering their husbands the same way Vashti answered you. That kind of attitude will cause family dissension. If the king agrees, let him issue a royal order to send Vashti away. Then the king should choose a new queen to replace her. The king and his advisors were pleased with the suggestion. So Ahasuerus followed Memucan's advice. Chapter 2. Sometime later, when King Ahasuerus calmed down, he realized how severely Vashti had been punished in relation to what she had done. To quiet him, his advisor suggested, "Let us search for the most beautiful young women in the kingdom, and the one that the king chooses will become queen in place of Vashti." And this plan pleased the king, and he approved it. There was a Jew in Shushan. His name was Mordecai. Woo, Mordecai, yeah! He had been carried into exile from Jerusalem along with other Jews by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Mordecai raised Esther, woohoo, whose Hebrew name was Hadassah, and was Mordecai's cousin. For she had no father and mother, Mordecai adopted Esther as his own daughter. When the king's order was publicized, many beautiful young women were brought to the king's palace in Shushan. Esther, too, was taken to the palace. She made an excellent impression upon Haggai, the keeper of the harem. She followed Mordecai's instructions, and she told no one that she was Jewish. Meanwhile, Mordecai was concerned about Esther. Each day, he stationed himself near the palace to find out what was happening to her. When Esther's turn came, she asked for nothing special except what Haggai had advised. The king loved Esther more than the other women, and he crowned her king in place of Vashti. And even though she was queen, Esther continued to follow Mordecai's instructions. One day, as Mordecai was sitting at the palace gate, 2 rebellious officers were plotting to hurt the king. Mordecai overheard the plot and told Esther. Esther immediately told the king in Mordecai's name. The plotters were questioned and they confessed. And then the details of this incident were officially recorded in the king's historical records. Chapter 3, a little Hebrew.
Now get ready, everybody, because you know who is about to enter the story. So listen for his Hebrew name, Haman. And when you hear that name, go nuts. But when you see Grogu enter the picture, that means I'm about to start again. Here we go. Achar hadvarim ha'ele Gidal Hamelech Achashverosh et Haman. Ben Hamdata Ha'agagi Vayanasehu Vayasem et Kiso Me'al Kol Hasarim Asher Ito V'chol Avdei HaMelech Asher B'shar HaMelech Korim Umishtachavim LeHaman. Nice booze in the chat pane. Ki chen tziva lo hamelech u'Mordechai lo yichra ve'lo yishtachaveh. And now in English.
Thank you, Jeremy. Sometime later, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, that's a boo time, to be prime minister. The king ordered everyone to honor and bow down to Haman. Everyone did so except Mordecai. Haman was furious because Mordecai the Jew was the only one who refused to bow down to him. When Haman learned that Mordecai was Jewish, he decided to punish him as well as all the Jews in the kingdom. Then Haman slyly said to Ahasuerus, "There is a group of people scattered throughout your kingdom whose customs are different from everyone else's and who do not obey the king's laws. For the sake of your kingdom, we should get rid of them." The king agreed and gave his special signet ring to Haman, the enemy of the Jews, with which to seal and sign the order. So Haman dictated orders to all the governors and princes, and it was sealed with the king's signet ring that all Jews, men and women, young and old, were to be banished on the 13th of the month of Adar, and the order was sent out throughout the kingdom. Then the king and Haman sat down to drink while the city of Shushan fell into panic and confusion. Chapter 4. When Mordecai came aware of all that had taken place, he went into mourning. He tore his clothes, he put on sackcloth and began to weep and moan outside the palace gate. Esther was very distressed when her maids informed her that Mordecai was in mourning. So she sent out her servant to see what the problem was. Mordecai told the servant about the plans to kill the Jewish people. He urged Queen Esther to plead with the king to save her people from destruction. Esther sent back a message stating, "Everyone knows that anyone who comes into the king's presence without being summoned is in big trouble, unless the king holds out his golden scepter, and I have not been summoned in over a month." Mordecai responded saying, "Do you think that you'll escape the fate of the Jews just because you are queen? If you do not intervene, I am positive that help for the Jews will come from somewhere else, but you and your family will perish. I believe that you were specifically chosen, Esther, to be queen at this time to save us from this emergency." So Esther sent the message to Mordecai, "Gather together all the Jews in Shoshan and fast for 3 days and 3 nights. I and my servants will also fast. In 3 days, I will visit the king unannounced." Mordecai did what Esther asked. Chapter 5, a little Hebrew.
This time, listen for Queen Esther's Hebrew name, which is Esther, and listen for that other guy's name in Hebrew again. Vayomer la hamelech malach Esther hamalka uma bakashatech ad chatzi hamalchut vayinaten lach vatomer Esther Imal hamelech tov yavo hamelech vehaman. That's a lot of O's in that boo in the chat pane. Hayom el hamishte asher asiti lo, vayomer hamelech maharu et Haman. Lasot et devar Esther, vayavo hamelech veHaman. El hamishte asher asta Esther.
And now, back to the story in English. 3 days later, Esther entered the throne room, dressed in her royal robes. The king held out his golden scepter to her, and Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. Then the king said to her, "Queen Esther, tell me what you want. Even if you ask for half my kingdom, it shall be yours." Esther said, "I would like you and Haman to come to a banquet that I have prepared." So Haman and the king went. During the banquet, when the king was drinking wine, he asked again, "Esther, tell me what it is you want. Even if you ask for half my kingdom, I shall give it to you." Then Esther said, "Would you and Haman come to another banquet tomorrow? Then I will present my request." Haman left very happy, but when he saw Mordecai, he became angry again. Chapter 6. That night, the king could not sleep, and he decided to have the historical records read to him. After all, what puts you to sleep more than having the historical records read to you? And so he heard about how his life had been saved when Mordecai reported the plot against him. He asked, "How did we reward Mordecai for saving my life?" The aides answered, "We did not reward him." At that moment, Haman arrived at the palace to ask the king to build an extra high gallows to hang Mordecai on. The servant ushered Haman into the king's chamber. The king asked, "What shall I do to honor a special man?" Haman thought the king wanted to honor him and answered, "Let him put on a royal robe, which the king has worn, and a royal crown, and let him ride the king's horse." And then a servant of the king could walk ahead of the horse, shouting, "This is the way the king honors those who serve him well." Then the king said to Haman, "Hurry, get my horse, my robe, and my crown, and take them to Mordecai, who sits at the palace gate. Do all this for him." After, of course, Haman was very angry about this because he did not like Mordecai, and he returned home angry and dejected. The king's guards arrived to take him to the palace for the second banquet. Chapter 7, a little Hebrew.
You know what to listen for. והמלך קם בחמתו ממשתה היין אל גינת הביתן, והמן עמד לבקש על נפשו מאסתר המלכה. כי ראה כי חלתה אליו הרעה מאת המלך. והמלך שב מגינת הביתן אל בית משתה היין, והמן נופל על המיטה אשר אסתר עליה. ויאמר המלך, הגם לכבוש את המלכה, אמי בבית. הדבר יצא מפי המלך ופני המן. חפו.
At the second banquet, the king asked Esther once again, "What do you want, Esther? I will give you even half my kingdom." Then Queen Esther answered, "Please, King Ahasuerus, all I ask is for you to save my life and the lives of my people, for we have been condemned to die." And the king said, Who is the terrible person who planned to do this? Esther pointed to the evil, terrible, no good Haman and said, there sits the wicked person. There sits Haman. Then one of the king's aides said, Haman built an extra tall gallows for Mordecai in the courtyard. Take him to his own gallows, ordered the king. And so they did. Chapter 8. On that day, King Ahasuerus gave the estate of Haman, enemy of the Jews, to Esther the queen. The king gave his signet ring, which he had given to Haman, to Mordecai. He then permitted Esther and Mordecai to issue new orders to permit the Jews to defend themselves should they be attacked. The orders took effect on the 13th of Adar. In every city, as soon as the king's decree arrived, the Jews declared a holiday filled with joy and gladness. Chapter 9, the Jews defeated all their foes, and they were able to celebrate and continue to live in the land of Shushan for many years. And so we are going to celebrate as we do today, because on the 13th of Adar, they rested. On the 14th, they celebrated their victory. The Jews of Shushan assembled on the 14th, and on the 15th, they celebrated. And so today, even today, in certain cities, in walled cities like the city of Jerusalem, Purim is a day later on the 15th of Adar. It's called Shushan Purim. And if you're in Israel, you can celebrate one day in Tel Aviv or someplace else, and then another day you can go and celebrate in Jerusalem as well. And the Jews celebrate with joyous feasting and by the exchanging of gifts of food and of plays and gifts and celebration. A little bit of Hebrew, chapter 10, and the end of our story.
Ki Mordechai HaYehudi Mishneh LaMelech Achashverosh Vegadol LaYehudim Veratzoi LeRov Echav Doresh Tov Le'amo Vedover Shalom Lechol Zaro.
The Jews agreed to celebrate the holiday of Purim and pass it on to their children. And they also decided to observe these days every year, wherever they live. Chag Purim Sameach, everybody. Have a wonderful and happy Purim. We're going to sing a little bit together to continue our Purim celebration.
Wow, what fun! That was wonderful. I'd love to see everybody making noise in their houses and with their bodies and moving around. Wow. That's not a bad story. Oh, okay. I'm going to share my screen. I have some of my favorite Purim songs. And one says, boy, I wish Purim would be every day of the year. Ani Purim, Ani Purim. I'm Purim. And we can pretend like we're Purim, like the holiday itself. Just 1 second. Just want to make it a full screen. Ani Purim Sameach Umbateach Alora Pa'am Bashana Avo Lehitareach La 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 la. My name is Purim and I come great fun and frolic bringing. Just once a year I visit you to cheer you with my singing. Tra la 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 la. Tra la 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 la. Tra la 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 la. Tra la la la. Hurrah Purim, hurrah Purim, we love your merry drumming. And if we had our way Purim, each month you would be coming. Tra la 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 la, tra la 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 la, Tra la 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 la, tra la la la. A wonderful Jewish songwriter and cantor, Doug Kotler, wrote this version, wrote a Purim song called Cowboy Purim. I think you'll like it. Haman was a mean hombre back in the old way. He thought he'd kill the Jews 'cause he thought it was the best. But he didn't reckon on the guy who would reckon by the name of Mordecai challenged him to a duel. They met on the streets of town. Everyone watched on that fateful day when Mordecai, he shot old Haman down. He had a 6 grogger in each hand. When he was through, there was peace in the land, and his name was Mordecai. Cowboy Purim, Cowboy Purim. Won't you join with me now on these words? They're right there on the screen. Refried Hamantashen. They're really good. Never tried. Give it a try. Cowboy Purim, Cowboy Purim. Mordecai will squash 'em. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. Yeah. Do I have time for 1 or 2 more songs right now, Rabbi?
You do, and that'll take us to the end. If you do that, that's perfect.
Oh, okay. Well, I was looking through Kenner Bush's songs that he likes to sing, and he likes to do this song called "Hey Jude." It's a Beatles song, and he has a version of it that was really, I think he called it "Hey Jews." This is the same one, but a friend of mine wrote this version of it that I think's a really nice version. I think you'll enjoy it, and it kind of offers an alternative way of looking how maybe we can make peace in the world and bring forth less Hamans in the world who want to do harm. So sing along at home, okay? If you know the song "Hey Jude." Hey man, don't be afraid. You must learn to embrace your feelings. Sometimes we all are getting the blues, but hating the Jews won't make it better. Hey man, don't feel so sad. There are support groups and meditation. The minute you heal the child within, you can begin to make it better. Ba, 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 ba. And anytime you feel the pain, hey man, refrain from taking your anger out on others. Ba, ba, ba. And don't you know that it's a fool who plays it cruel? Try loving your sisters as There's nice hamantash in there. Ba ba ba, don't. Let's see. Ba 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 ba. Amen. Take off your hat. Put your feet up. Take off your sweater. If you don't stop hurting all of the Jews, you'll end up in a noose and will not get better, 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 better. Ah, na, la, la, na, na. When you sing it with me now, na, 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 na. Amen. Come on, amen, get yourself together. Na, 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 na. This is not the new way now. Na, 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 hey. Come on, take care of yourself, amen, get it together now. Na, 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 na. Oh, yeah. Na, 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 na. Amen.
And let's sing something to take us out.
All right. Let's see. Scroll through here. Let's see if we can find a good. Oh, you know what might be a good one to finish with is one that. I cannot not do this one. Oh, did Canterbush ever do this one? Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen?
We've done it before. I don't know that we've done it last year, but we'd love to hear it with you.
Okay, good. Well, everybody, join along. Okay, if you can read this and you can, you know the words and the melody to supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, then you can sing this along. Sing along with this. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen. If Purim is the holiday, this snack you will be noshing. It's Haman's hat or ears or eyes on this I am not joshing. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen. Yum diddly lum diddly. Can I see some hamantashen out there? Do you have a hamantashen? Yeah, bring it on out so we can kind of dance with the hamantashen. Bring it to the camera and everybody can show their hamantashen. When I was just a little kid a long, long time ago, the month Adar had just come in, but how was I to know that there was such a holiday with food I would sequester? That yummy treat I love to eat when reading about Esther. Yum diddly lum diddly, yum diddly lum diddly. The first time that I saw these things triangular in shape, their smell was oh so heavenly that there was no escape. I took a bite, my appetite just grew and grew and grew. Without Osnei, Haman, and Purim, oh, what I would do. Yum diddly lum diddly, yum diddly lum diddly, yum diddly lum diddly, yum diddly lum. So when we read of Mordechai around this time of year, just don't forget a mitzvah which will bring us lots of cheer. We give out foods and gifts to one they're called shalach manot. In English that means presents of food, so Tashin gets my vote. Oh, yum diddly little lum diddly, yum diddly little lum diddly, yum diddly little lum diddly. I'm scrolling it down so we can see the words. Here we go. And peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen. Peanut butter, poppy, prune, or chocolate hamantashen. What about the apricot one? Peanut butter, poppy seed, poppy prune, poppy seed, or chocolate hamantashen.
We will be together again for Shabbat tomorrow evening, 6:30 for our family service, 7:30 for our Shabbat classic service. And for those who are Beit Sefer students or Beit Sefer students and their families, we have a special Purim program on Sunday as part of our Beit Sefer program. So I want to just say thank you to Cantor Richard Schwartz for helping us out tonight and being with us. Thank you so much, Richard. And and to all of you for being with us, and we will see you soon. Lehitraot, Chag Sameach, Chag Purim Sameach. Have a wonderful Purim. Thank you to Jeremy Kaur for our wonderful reading today of our Megillah.
Good to see the children. Happy Purim, everybody.